Hello everyone, for those who don't know me, my name is Alessandro Colford and I am the one who has set up 15 OpenClaws in 24 hours, and basically in this video I'm going to explain to you something that was very important for me while I was installing this 15 different times for our 15 clients. So basically what I learned is something called channel model overrides. So here we are on the official documentation page of OpenClaw video, and we also have a full SOP which basically explains how to set this up step by step, and that's what I'm going to go through in this video. So hopefully you guys all enjoy it. If it has been useful, please subscribe, like the video, put a comment. I would appreciate it a lot. And yeah, let's get right into the video. So what is the problem? The problem is that you're using one model for everything, which is inefficient, expensive, and very wasteful. And so essentially that's why you're hitting your rate limits very quickly, and why you will end up needing to or spend more on API tokens or get new Claude subscriptions every time you hit your rate limit. If you do not know how to check for your rate limits, you just go to claude.ai settings usage, and then you go to usage and you'll be able to see there's different kinds of usage limits. You have the current session, which resets every 5 hours. Then you have the weekly limits. So on all models, this resets every Friday, 9 a.m. And then you have Sonnet model only, which resets, I believe, also on a weekly basis, but on Wednesdays. So once you hit your current setting, and this is at 100%, then you won't be able to use it for the next amount of time that's in here. Now, where it gets really annoying is if you hit the all models one, because then you can literally not use it anymore, and you have to turn on your extra usage, which is very expensive. Or alternatively, you can just create a new Claude account and get a new subscription and use that subscription. However, you'll need to reconfigure your OpenClaw, which becomes a big mess for someone who is not technical. So this is why it's important that you watch this video and that you go through this presentation with me, because I'm going to explain everything. So the current state is most startup setups default to single model for all tasks. So what that means is you basically use Telegram for all of your tasks. So you ask Telegram in the Telegram chat, what is the weather, create me a dashboard, send a Slack notification, set up this automation, and you're asking all these tasks in one chat, which is not efficient. So because you're using the Opus model, which is the most expensive one, and also the one that's going to consume the most your rate limit. Perhaps you also use this for routine tasks like cron jobs, health checks, etc. And you do not need to use the Opus model for that. It's not like this model was not used for that. So the consequence of that is that, well, checking server health costs the same as writing a research paper or creating a dashboard, which does not make sense. So the solution is to pick the right model for the right task. And the most amazing thing from this is that AI, your OpenAI, your Claude bot directly can do that for you. So the root cause, context pollution. So this is exactly the problem that everyone is facing when they hit their rate limits, or if you're spending way too much on your API credits. So before, you would just chat in Telegram, single thread, single conversation, single context window. You would ask morning briefing. You would ask to review the AI tools article that you bookmarked. You would ask to do research on OpenClaw alternatives. You would ask to write up email draft. And all of this is basically like you're just polluting the whole memory, the whole context window of that bot, which really results in low quality responses, and you're literally just burning money on fire. So with channel model optimization, well, if you have it in Discord Slack, you have dedicated channels for each use case. So for example, you would have a general channel, which is for daily assistant tasks, and that would use Sonnet model because you don't need to use Opus model. You would have video research, which would do deep content research, and that would use the Opus model because it actually needs that model. You would have monitoring, which is for server health and alerts, and that would use Heiku, YouTube stats, analytics queries, inbox, etc. You get the point. So with this, you get a clean context model per channel. So what that means is every single channel has its own context window. So that means that if I talk in the general chat and if I talk in the general chat, when I go into the video research chat, it will have a new context window. It won't use the context window of the general chat. And this is the crucial part, and why people, when they chat with their OpenClaw for multiple days and weeks, and when they basically see that the output of the OpenClaw is becoming worse and worse, well, it's because of this exact problem. It's because you're polluting the whole context window by asking it various random stuff. So the solution to this is just having it split up and use specific models for each use case. So like I said, the solution, one channel is one workflow. So instead of having a single thread channel and just use Telegram, you would use it in Discord or in Slack and have dedicated channels. And I do explain how to set all of this up in this SOP here. So again, if you want to have access to this, just check the description of this channel. It explains everything. We also have everything in school that you can join. So for example, if you go into community, if you go into classroom actually, we have different kinds of master classes, and also in the calendar you can see every Saturday at 3 p.m. London time, 7 p.m. Dubai time, we do a 1-hour Q&A session where you can ask any sort of technical questions or use case questions. We also have an SOP on how to actually set up CloudBot or OpenClaw, and it goes through how to set it up in Slack, how to set up meta ads, how to set up Windsor API, how to set up Go High Level, how to set up Monday.com, how to set it up in Google Drive, etc. So feel free to just DM me on Instagram or join the school community and you'll get that. So let's get back to the video. So basically instead of just using everything in Telegram, you would use it in Discord or in Slack, and every single task will have its own channel. So this clean context, cleaner conversations, better formatting, lower costs, and honestly it's just way more organized. When I go into Slack, right, and then I can clearly see, okay, if I need to ask a question about reporting, I go to AI reporting. If I need to ask a question about strategy, then I go to AI strategy. If I need to ask a question and create, for example, a B2C ad copy, I go to AI ads, and then it's going to create the copy. So this is the channel architecture. So when in the SOP that I've created, it will actually go through how to get this. So I believe it's an introduction. Basically, I have these 3 prompts that you will give to your AI. You can go ahead and screenshot this if you don't want to spend time getting the document. But essentially here you can just give this to your AI, and then it'll tell you what kind of channels should it make. So for example, in my case, it told me you should create a general, content, strategy, ads, client communications, reporting, and automations. And it also gave the model that I should use and the purpose. So this is exactly what this is about. So Opus 4.6 is for deep thinking. It's the most expensive in terms of token usage. Sonnet is balanced, so you can use it for general stuff, but it's not that smart. A lot of people still think that Sonnet is not that smart. However, it is quicker, and in terms of if you just need something quickly, then you can use Sonnet. Haiku, do not use Haiku, just use it for really like stupid stuff, like reviewing, like pulling stats from Google Sheet, or triggering an API call, or triggering an automation, because this is fast and it's very cheap. The 3-tier model framework. So these are basically the 3 tiers which I was explaining for. Feel free to just screenshot this because this is going to be very important. You can also give it to your AI so that it has this context already. So Haiku is best for routine checks, data retrieval, structured lookups, heartbeat monitoring. And here are some use cases that you can use. So server health checks. What is a server health check? It just checks if your automation is running correctly with no errors. Weather forecast, calendar reminders. You don't need to use Opus for that. Sonnet is balanced, so best for summarization, drafting content, moderate reasoning, multi-step tasks, examples to filter through your emails, morning briefings, bookmark enrichment. So I specifically use Sonnet for morning briefings and evening briefings. An example of this would be to send me a notification and tell me, well, how much did I spend on my business account and how much did I spend on my personal account, so that I'm just up to date and that I know approximately how much I'm spending every single day. Opus, this is for the big tasks like research, competitor analysis, strategic planning, creating a dashboard, etc. So the real cost impact. So basically, if you just use the Telegram chat, you're probably using 20 times more the amount of tokens that you should actually be using. And yeah, basically, if you use the channel model optimization, you will save between 60 to 80% of your utilization, which if you actually convert that into money, into how much you would be spending on API triggers or in Claude subscriptions accounts, it could equal to, $800, $1K per month very easily. So how to implement this? Well, we have this whole document which explains it, but essentially you want to audit your workflows, you want to separate your different contexts, and you want to assign minimum viable model, and then you start with one inbox channel. So my recommendation is to start with the cheapest model if you don't know what kind of model to use for that specific task. I always recommend to just speak with your AI. Your AI knows it better than you. So yeah. Common mistakes to avoid. Don't use Opus as the safe default. So it's not always using the most expensive model is not always the safest. It's just the most expensive. For example, for routine tasks, like you don't need to use Opus. Creating too many channels, you don't want to create like 20 different channels because realistically you're never going to use them all. Now, yes, if you do have a team and you do have people in your team who use specific channels, then yeah, for sure that's super useful. Ignoring context windows, this is one of the key things that a lot of people ignore, because context window is actually super important. For Claude Opus 4.6, you have 200K context window. The biggest context window is Gemini, but obviously it's dumber, so you don't want to use that. Key takeaways, so separate first, so separate your tasks first, then you optimize after. Match the model to the task and start small and then stay deliberate. So don't try talking in the AI ads channel about coding a dashboard, for example. What you could do, like let's say you want to create a dashboard which would show the ad metrics. A smart approach would be to ask in the ads channel, like create a prompt, give me a prompt which will explain what kind of metrics do I need to display in my dashboard to properly have an overview of how my ads are performing. Because this channel has all the context on how your ads are running, what metrics do you take, etc. Then after that, you would copy that prompt and then you would go into the AI code channel and you would paste it in here, and then your AI who is specifically made for the coding aspect, will generate it. So that's how that works. So hopefully this video was useful. Now again, I'm going to do a group call on Saturday at 7 p.m. where I will literally show the step-by-step on doing this. So feel free to join. The link is in the description. And hopefully this video was useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Now, how do you actually set this up? So it's actually pretty simple. So if you want to set this up in your Slack, what you need to do is you need to first create a Slack app, which I show here. So you create the Slack app. You can go and and then from there, well, you need to create a Slack app. So there's two options when you create a Slack app: or you can pick from uploading your own manifest, which is basically you can change the code, or you can create it from scratch. However, what I did is I made your life easier, and I actually created a Slack app template that you can just download, and then you can copy paste into the manifest. After that, you're going to select in which workspace you want to actually install the Slack app in. So I chose the license and scale testing account. From there, well, basically you're going to download the manifest. You're going to change the different variables so they can be personalized. So personalized name, personalized description for your Slack app. Then, yeah, basically I just explained the next steps. You add it into your Slack. You can then change the logo, the name, the description. Then you install it. This is the message that you will see when it's successfully installed. Then you'll tag it to add the bot in the specific channel. Then you're going to get your app level token, which is needed to basically give it like admin access. So it can create Slack channels for you. It can add you in Slack channels, etc. And this is where it gets really interesting in terms of automations, because let's say you onboard a new client, then your Slack app can directly create the channel, can directly add that person in that channel, and can also send a personalized message with the personalized resources that person needs once they get them onboarded. So this is the prompt that you would basically give it, and then I show if you forgot on how to get your bot user token, etc. So that's how this works, and then also and then also how to create the different Slack channels. So you would actually ask your bot, what based on my utilization, what kind of Slack channels should I create? And then it'll tell you. And I do the same thing here for Discord. So Discord, it's fairly simple. You just need to create a app. You just need to create a Discord app. Then you go to bot. You click these two privilege gateways intents. So this just gives the access that it needs. Then you're going to select the bot permissions. So I just select all of these ones. So you can also manage channels. You can change nickname. You can view all your channels. You can add reactions. I can actually show how that looks like live. I do think Discord is nicer to use in terms of UI, but I grew up with Discord being a communication app for when you would play video games. So I don't really think it's very professional. I do prefer Slack in this case, but let's say I say, hey, what's the weather? Just ask a random question. Basically, it's going to reply back to me directly. The animations are nice, and yeah, it's very smooth. You can also get it to reply as a thread, which is pretty cool. And you can also, tell it to put an emoji when it was red, when it's working on a task, etc.